Raise your hand for questions for Armando, please. Andrew Jones, go ahead for Armando.
Hey, Armando, you guys were having some trouble with the switching. They got a lot of open looks right after switches. What was the problem that you guys were dealing with there?
Just not locked in. Just feel like I don't know. That was just our attention to detail wasn't good.
Without having Justin and Dawson and Kerwin, did you kind of feel like you had to conserve through stretches in order to stay fresh, or did that affect you at all?
No, we practice and we've been playing so many games this year. So, we in game shape. It was just flat out an embarrassing loss today.
Thank you.
CL Brown, go ahead.
Armando, could you kind of take us through the stretch there? You guys got that first lead since it was 15-14, but it seemed like in that last 3 minutes you weren't able to get you weren't able to get a shot to fall for you. I mean, was that just kind of dumb luck on some of those plays with RJ's going in and out?
Yeah, we didn't finish those shots, and we couldn't really get a stop. It was a lot of breakdowns happening, and it just didn't go our way.
And going back to Andrew's question on the guys you didn't have, I mean, how much of that weighs on you mentally, even coming into a game, that you're not going to be able to kind of get that same offensive boost off the bench that you normally get, since Brady is now in the starting lineup and Kerwin's 3-point ability isn't there?
Well, we knew coming in offensively it would be like kind of hard to get into our regular sets, and we had to play a lot of freelance. And we knew guys would kind of sag off in the paint, but they weren't even really sagging off in the paint. They really didn't defend us well. We just didn't play good defense either, and they just beat us.
Brendan, go ahead.
Hey, Armando. Yeah, I just wanted to go back and follow up on Andrew's question too about the defense and the switching. Was that the game plan to switch 1 through 5 coming in, and how much of the defensive game plan was adjusted by not having those guys tonight?
Yeah, well, that was a game plan. We wanted to switch 1 through 4, and then with Atkinson in, we wanted to like ice and weak his screens, but we just were having trouble getting into all the defensive coverages, and it wasn't even so much of the switching. It was just more like us getting in the switch and then them driving and us being too much and helping, and they were playing the drive and kick, and they were just knocking out threes, and we just couldn't get rotated, and we didn't do a good job communicating.
Armando, if I could follow up, the frustration that you're feeling right now, you say this is, a flat out embarrassing loss. How does this compare to some of the other ones you guys have had this year, Kentucky, Tennessee, the likes?
Just all of them just hurt. I don't know. I just want to figure it out. It's just bad, and I don't know. I just feel sorry for the fans, former coaches, former players. It's just unacceptable that we can't win these games with all the talent we have, and it's unacceptable that we're not paying attention to our coaches and just not playing Carolina basketball in those games specifically. And we just going further on in the season, we got to be more consistent just every game. We can't play good in some games and not good in others. And we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
All right, 2 more, Adam Smith and then Noah Monroe. Go ahead, Adam.
Armando, I hear everything you're saying there, but did you feel like you guys showed some fight there in the second half? I think you were down 13 and then you got it back to where you were leading. Did you feel like there was some resiliency there, at least for some point?
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like at the same time too, it shouldn't even got to that point. We should have, from out the gate, the whole game should have just dominated, even without not having players and just having to make all these adjustments and stuff. It's no excuse. We shouldn't have won that game.
Is there something about you guys you think that brings out the best in 14? What Laskowski, I think is, I'm probably butchering his name, but like he seems like he's lit you guys up a couple times now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's been killing us since I've been here, but yeah, hopefully we'll see him again.
Thank you.
Last one, Noah, go ahead.
Hey Armando, it's tough to look at bright spots after a loss like that, but 21 points and a career high 17 rebounds, and you had a double-double in the first half. I mean, what do you think that says about the growth you've had in the 3 years you've been at UNC?
Well, I mean, I guess I got better, but I mean, I would trade every point and every rebound and win the game. I would be 0-0 everywhere. I just want to win, and I mean, it was good on the stat sheet, but I mean, I didn't do it good enough either. It was times I broke down defensively, and times I wasn't my best either, and that's just it can't happen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Armando. We've got Caleb coming up here in a second. Raise your hand for Caleb, and I'll get to everybody as quick as I can. Thank you. Andrew Jones, go ahead for Caleb Love.
Caleb, I'm going to ask you one of the same things I asked Armando. Was they had a lot of success right after the switches that you guys had, led to a lot of open threes, and Armando said they had a lot of success driving immediately and then kicking out. What was it that made it difficult for you guys to get to deal with that all night long?
I just feel like we were just helping too much on those drives, because this team just likes to shoot threes, and they weren't really beating us on drives and getting to the cup or down low in the post. They were just beating us on those wide open threes and us over helping. And I just think that we were, like I said, over helping and trying to help too much on the drive instead of guarding the three, which this is a 3-point shooting team.
Armando just said that he's embarrassed about this loss, that, you know, you guys thought maybe you'd made some progress from what happened in Connecticut and Vegas. How would you characterize how you feel about this loss and the way you guys played?
Nah, for sure. I agree with him. This is a bad loss on our part, and we take full responsibility. And going forward, we just can't let it happen again. We keep saying we can't let it happen again, but we have to change. And if we want to get to that Final Four run and national championship run that we've been hoping for and practicing and preparing for, then we have to change. And that's just what it's going to have to be.
Thank you.
Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina. Go ahead.
Hey, Caleb, you kind of got going there in the second half. What turned for you? What were you able to do a little bit differently to get some momentum?
I was dry in the first half, no energy, not giving my team my all, and I just had to turn it up for us to get a chance. And I just tried to be that spark as soon as the whistle was going the second half, and I just tried to give us a spark, and unfortunately we came out with a L.
And with some of the plays there late, just offensively, I think you guys failed to convert 6 of the last 8 possessions. Kind of what was some of the issues trying to get something to fall for you guys?
I just feel like we were rushing too much. We were down 2, and I took a bad shot. That's just, and me being in those situations kind of for the first time, I'll get better as I watch film and be in those situations going forward. I learn to take better shots and make better reads. So that's just me growing on my part. And like I said, I take full responsibility because I didn't give my team that same energy I had in the second half, the first half.
Thanks, Caleb.
CL?
Caleb, when you guys were able to regain the lead, was there any kind of sense that since you came back from 13, that maybe you guys eased up a little bit? Like you fought so hard to get back there. Once you got that lead, do you feel like maybe you guys didn't keep your foot on the pedal?
No, I don't think it wasn't that. I just think we just made those silly mistakes, like leaving Leshevsky open on that wide open 3 he had, and we gave up too many wide open threes. That's just what it was the whole game. We knew coming in that this was a 3-point shooting team, and we didn't stick to our game plan, and they just laced us up from 3, and that's what it was. And when we watch film, we'll see that and we'll learn from it.
Okay, last 2, Brendan Marks and then Gregory Hall. Go ahead, Brendan.
Hey, Caleb. Yeah, you mentioned that you didn't quite bring the intensity in the first half that you did in the second. Is there anything that you can point to, whether it's for yourself or collectively as the team, as to why there have been some of those struggles with inconsistency energy-wise?
I just feel like we got to come into every game with a chip on our shoulder and just trying to prove ourselves because we haven't done anything. We 10-4, so we haven't done anything, and we're not ranked or not one of the top teams in the country yet. So I just think we came out slow. Wasn't really a big crowd, so usually we like to feed off the crowd, but it wasn't really a big crowd. So we can't just depend on the crowd or depend on the energy. We got to create our own energy, and as going forward, like I said before, we just got to come in with a chip on our shoulder.
Thank you.
Okay, Gregory, last one.
Caleb, following up on that, as far as the opponent, is it taking them for granted? Is it them doing something differently? Because Tennessee game, Kentucky game, this game, obviously this game ended up being closer because the 10-minute stretch where you guys outscored them by 14. But is it something Notre Dame did at the beginning? You mentioned their game plan. Were you not ready for it? Did you just take it for granted and think they weren't going to make as many shots? Just can you speak to that at all?
We're not really used to switching everything. That was the game plan. We switched everything, and we're not really used to that. But there's no excuse because switching everything doesn't require any skill. It's just that we gave up too many threes. That's just what it was. Too many open threes, and I think coming into the game we kind of took them lightly. I don't want to say we knew we were going to come in and win, but I feel like we did take them lightly just because of their record and. But they did beat Kentucky. Just like I said, going forward, we're gonna come in, play with a chip on our shoulder from the start to finish, and coming in, we got to start proving ourselves and coming in every game to dominate.
Thank you, Caleb. We'll have Coach Davis here in a second. Everybody, please raise your hand with questions for him, and we'll get to everybody. Michael Coe from Chapel Borough, go ahead first, please.
Hey, Coach. So it seems like the last 3 seasons, it's been Leshevsky who's really given y'all problems on the offensive end. What is it about him that makes him such a difficult matchup?
Well, it's a difficult matchup when you leave him open. He's a veteran player that, from an offensive standpoint, the thing that he does the best is shoot the ball from 3, and you can't give him those open looks. And so from a defensive standpoint, any ball screen, dribble handoff with him, we were switching. And the reason why we were switching was always to keep a defensive player on him so he wouldn't pick and pop and shoot threes. And we allowed him to make 6 or 7 threes. Tonight was his season high. He's averaging 7 points a game, and he scored 20 points tonight. And I think his career high is against us, which was last year at North Carolina. And so, from a defensive standpoint, we didn't do what we talked about and what we practiced in practice. And as a result, you leave open a really good 3-point shooter, and he was able to make 6 of them tonight.
Thank you.
Greg Barnes, go ahead.
Hubert, what was the breakdown with those defending those screens for Nate?
Lack of communication, lack of talking, lack of communication, lack of talking, lack of energy, lack of effort, lack of toughness, lack of attention to detail, will and want to, desire, want to, sense of emergency, all those adjectives.
Did you feel like, I think it was maybe 12 minutes to play, your team was down 13. You seemed very agitated on the sideline. They came out, played with more energy and passion. It seemed like on the defensive end. What did you notice that spark, and what's the key to getting those guys to do that more often?
I did. I told them that, if our energy and our effort and our toughness and our attention to detail, especially on the defensive end, would change, I really felt like things would change, and I told them they would change drastically. And we were down by 13, and within a minute, we were a little bit over a minute. It was like we're only down by 5. And it just changed drastically. So we came into timeout, and I said, look, guys, if you guys will I said, there is a difference between making an adjustment or a tweak compared to making a change. And so an adjustment and a tweak is something that you make a change, but it's not something that you change permanently. It's just you change just for a couple possessions here or there. I said, we have to make the change of what we need to do on the defensive end. And so we made that change, but it was a tweak and an adjustment. It wasn't a consistent change, and we were able to take the lead. And I think after we took the lead, I think they went on a 12-6 run. And so on the road against anybody, you have to be disciplined, you have to be sound on both ends of the floor, and we just weren't.
Thanks.
Brendan Marks, go ahead.
Hubert, I know that you've expressed similar frustrations with the energy and the effort and the toughness after the Tennessee game, the Kentucky game. To what do you attribute the inconsistency in that department? As you've said, that's sort of a non-negotiable for you.
I don't know. I can't answer that. The reason that I don't know is because that's not me. So I don't know how to experience that. I don't as a basketball player, as a coach, as a husband, as a dad, I don't know how to do anything absent of emotion and effort and being the best that you can be. And so I don't have an answer to that question. I'd like to find that, but right now I don't have that answer.
Andrew Jones.
Just staying on the defensive stuff and the switching, it appeared that they had a lot of success right after the switch occurred. And Armando said it forced help defense all the time. And that's what opened up all kinds of stuff. Is that what you saw? Was it the fact that it forced the help defense, or was there something else why it just wasn't very successful?
No, I disagree with that. They were open because there was a lack of talking, a lack of communication, a lack of effort, a lack of attention to detail, and also a lack of being able to guard the ball. And so it wasn't help position. It was we were in the wrong position.
Armando also said he was embarrassed by this performance. Caleb echoed the same thing. Not that you want to have a game like this, but sometimes is it good if guys are in a situation when they lose like this, that they express something like that? Because sometimes that might be the charge that they need to spring forward.
It is good. I'll give you a quote that Coach Smith used to give us all the time. A mistake is good when you recognize it, admit it, learn from it, and grow from it. And so if you recognize this and admit it and learn from it and grow from it, and you never do it again, then it can turn into a positive. But if the next game or a week from now or a couple weeks from now we're still talking about the same thing, then it isn't good. And so we'll see.
Thank you.
Couple more. Let's try to go quickly here, please. CL Brown.
Hubert, you guys were down 3 players. What do you take from just, this is the first time this team has kind of been in a position of adversity like that. What do you take from how they responded?
I take that we were down 3 players, and it doesn't matter that North Carolina showed up at South Bend to play Notre Dame, and we didn't get it done. We didn't do what we needed to do to win the basketball game. And so just, would it be great to have everybody in the lineup? Yes, but you don't get what you want, when you want it, where you want it at the matter or which you want it, but we have a great opportunity to play. And so, we had enough talent and enough guys in the locker room to get it done tonight, and we just didn't get it done.
And do you know if they'll be available for Virginia on Saturday?
I have no idea. I'll find out tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow morning. But as of right now, I have no idea the availability of all 3 of them. But as soon as I know, I'll tell you.
Last 2, please. Adam Smith and then Noah Monroe. Adam, go ahead.
Hubert, when you're talking about adjustments and tweaks versus changes, for you as a coach, when you see those things happening that you don't want to happen with them getting clean look after clean look, is there an inclination for you to say, all right, we're going to scrap this Yeah, can you do something like that in game? Or you?
We did. We were reading 1 through 4, and then we were, our terminology, icing and weaking Atkinson, and just didn't feel like that was working. And so we changed it up, and we just switched everything 1 through 5 so that there was no confusion, and they were still able to get some open looks. We talked about their out of bounds underneath plays, that Goodwin is a hot guy on their out of bounds neath plays. All he wants to do is he wants to curl and get that jump shot in the corner, and he got 3 jumpers from that going into the corner. Latter part of the second half, we extended our pressure and we picked up full court, and we started trapping first pass, or if a ball screen happened before that. And so we were able to get them and break their rhythm out a little bit. We started like around 8 or 9 minutes left to go in the game, and so I thought that was really good. It brought them out of rhythm a little bit, but we had to be strategic in doing that, because we, RJ and Caleb are the ones that are picking up full court, and we didn't know how many minutes we might have had to play them 40 minutes today, and so we had to be strategic on when to pick up full court and be able to extend that energy. And so we made adjustments, we made changes and tweaks, and sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't.
Thank you.
Last one, Noah, please go ahead.
You keep talking about energy, effort, and toughness, and it seemed like in the first half that Armando was really the only one who's consistently showing all 3 of those values. And then in the second half, more players continue to pick up those values. So, what do you have to do to find the energy, effort, and toughness from all 40 minutes so we can stop talking about how those 3 values aren't showing up in the game?
Well, you're exactly right, and they are showing up, but maybe I need to say it more. They are showing up. You have to do it consistently all the time. It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just frustrated. Notre Dame is a great basketball team, and they've got older guys and veteran guys that have been successful in the ACC, and Coach Bray is a unbelievable and fantastic person and coach. I just believe we missed an opportunity tonight. I'm very disappointed.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.